Hello YouTube and fellow Star Wars collectors! On this episode of Toys Are the Way, we'll be taking a look at the latest addition to the Vintage Collection's vehicle lineup, the new Republic E-Wing and KE4-NA droid from the Ahsoka series. Welcome back everyone. Next up on my recent Vintage Collection deliveries is the new Republic E-Wing, an all-new vehicle from recent media that is making its way into our collection, and I am very excited to see this one. Originally part of the expanded universe and now made canon in the Ahsoka series, this is definitely going to be a fantastic addition to our Ahsoka series lineup and just helps world build that, environment that we've been building with all these different figures. We're going to have the Ghost coming, and yeah, so far I've been very happy with everything they've been giving us from this show. Naturally, we always want to see more, but I'm pretty hopeful now that we have this vehicle that maybe someday we might be able to get Sabine in her speeder bike with that bomber jacket look to help recreate this entire scene. But with all that being said, don't forget to smash a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and let's take a look at the packaging, figure, and vehicle. Taking a look at our vintage style packaging, we have the Star Wars and Ahsoka logo, nice and bold, prominently displayed at the top of the box, followed by New Republic E-Wing and KE4-NA, better known as KE4-NA. A nice homage and play on words to the Kenner logo down below, and the original R2-D2 design, which this figure is based on. We have a fantastic image and recreation of the E-Wing on that Lothal highway with the Kenner-inspired astromech looking rather wonderful, although I will say that it's a little bit lonely without the pilot from the E-Wing also displayed on this box. Lastly, on the bottom left corner, we have another image of the vehicle and figure that are included in this set. On the top of the box, we have the Star Wars, Ahsoka, and Kenner logos repeated once again, followed by the same exact image of the E-Wing on the Lothal highway. On the side of the box, we have the logos repeated once again, followed by a series of thumbnails showing all the different functions of this vehicle, such as the sliding cockpit door, which allows you to put a pilot in the vehicle itself, the functional landing gear, and the droid port, which allows you to put the Kenner-inspired droid as the co-pilot. On the back of the box, we have the same exact graphic layout from the front, except this time with the Vintage Collection, Disney, and Hasbro logos displayed towards the bottom right corner. But with all that said and done, let's open up the E-Wing and see what we have inside. Taking a look at the E-Wing, fully assembled and out of the packaging, I just have to stop for a moment and appreciate this very elegant yet simple design. I really think this is going to make a fine addition to my fleet. I'm really happy to have this one added to the collection, and I'm really glad, they took a chance and made a new vehicle from Ahsoka and just like an expanded universe thing that I think a lot of people have wanted for quite some time. Yes, I understand that some people are a little upset that there's not much weathering on this ship in terms of the paint applications, but I plan on putting a little bit on there myself. The New Republic ships weren't really that dirty or beaten up, but yeah, I have 3 of these total. This one came from Shop Disney. I have a couple more coming from Hasbro Pulse, and I plan to put a little bit of weathering on at least one of these. I think an area that could have benefited from the weathering would have been in the Greeblies area, just to help, highlight some of this and really bring out more of that detail. But taking a closer look, you just have to really appreciate the level of care that was put into this sculpt. There is a ton of different little detail and stuff like that for something that's such a simple and sleek design. So I really, really appreciate that. The paint application and markings are all very nice. clean lines. They're a sharp, brilliant blue that I think looks fantastic. We've got some gray here as well, and you can see just these little details that, we see on these kind of sci-fi ships that I think, really brings a lot of life to them, even though they are a sleek design. Looking at the engines, you have a little bit of a paint application here, some burn marks. I think that looks pretty good. I feel like I've seen better on some of the X-Wings, but for the most part, I think that looks okay. There's nothing really on the interior, none of that translucent plastic that we've seen maybe with the Razor Crest or something, but but that's no deal breaker to me. Taking a look at the back here, I really appreciate this level of detail as well. There's just so much, greebly stuff going on, and I think it's fantastic. Same thing with the very back of the E-Wing fighter. Got great stuff going on there that just screams Star Wars to me. And yeah, overall, I think that's just absolutely brilliant. Taking a look at the cannon, pretty simple itself, no real weathering on it. I think this maybe, could have used a little bit of a paint application just so it looks like it's had some, firing damage or something. Taking a look at the front engine, also a little bit too clean there. It would have been nice if they put some kind of level of detail in terms of paint applications that they did on the back, but once again, I'll probably weather this up a little bit myself. And then, yeah, let's take a look at the cockpit itself. That's really cool that it's able to slide open with great ease, and then, you can take a look at the interior, which also has some pretty good details. You can see there on that console, the joystick doesn't really move at all, and then there's nothing on that little computer. I might put a decal on there myself. Other than that, the interior is definitely pretty plain, but it is what it is. I'm just going to put a pilot in there and they're going to look fantastic. So you can slide that back up, but there is a slight seam here. It doesn't get like super flush, so that's a little bit of a negative, but regardless, I'm happy to see this kind of feature, so I think that's great. Moving on, taking a look at the nose of the ship, got more of the same going on here with that blue detail here, a couple of like red callouts or just symbols there, which also look really nice. More detail and just lots of texture going on, even though it's a very flat surface still. And then taking a look at the underside, we have one of the landing gears. That is just a very light color gray plastic that's been molded. I think here could have used, a little bit more paint, but that's something I can also do myself. Maybe add a little bit more metallic here and dirty this thing up. So taking a look at the doors, they close and snap in very nicely, so that's always a big improvement because the X-Wings themselves don't have the best landing gear. We've seen Poe Dameron's X-Wing from like the sequel trilogies is a much better design, so I'm glad that they brought that here to the E-Wing fighter. Same thing with the rear landing gear. I absolutely love what's going on here. That's just really nice design, and it's also cool that they went out of their way to put a little bit more detail in here as well, more greeblies and stuff like that. So really fantastic stuff. Overall, the bottom of the ship doesn't have a ton of detail. It's a lot more simple of a design, but the bottoms of the ships are kind of like that. But all in all, I think it is a fantastic looking vehicle. Look at this thing. So cool. We get to recreate those scenes from Ahsoka, and who knows what these things will be doing in new media. They may be a lot of these in dogfights and stuff like that. So very excited for the future of the E-Wing in the Star Wars franchise. And one last thing before we take a look at the carded figure is the droid port. I wanted to show how this is very similar to many that we've seen with previous X-Wings and stuff like that, but still taking a modern approach to it and making it better. So you're able to take this panel off, which is fantastic. I like that they did that with Poe Dameron's X-Wing as well. And you're able to put your astromech in there with ease. It's a pretty large space, so you can put a variety of them in there. We'll test out a couple in just a few. And then you have this little compartment here, which is great to put in extra blasters or cargo or anything of that sort. And this allows you to kind of like use this thing as a bit more of a I don't know, like an environmental piece or a play set. You're able to, have your figure on top, open this up, see them loading up cargo or something like that, and just get, kind of creative with your imagination. So pretty cool. And I like that, this was just designed pretty well to snap right back on in place, and you would never know that there is a hidden compartment there. So absolutely wonderful work, Hasbro. Taking a look at our vintage style card back, we have the Star Wars and Ahsoka Series logo prominently displayed up top, followed by KE4-NA, better known as KE4-NA, on a mustard yellow name pill color. We have a fantastic image of the astromech looking really good on that Lothal highway with the Kenner logo down below, and all things just screaming Star Wars collecting. Additionally, we have a wonderful take on the Build-A-Droid mold, looking really good and popping really nice on that yellow name pill color. On the back, he is VC 341 in the line, KE4-NA, and we have a small description of the character, followed by the Vintage Collection logo and additional images of the card and figure. And as you can see, this card came pretty well packed and has very little damage to it, so that is nice to see. I do have 2 more of these coming, so I'm going to take a risk here and hope that those other ones are a little bit more minty than this and open up this figure. But I definitely look forward to adding this one to my Ahsoka Series carded collection. Taking a look at the figure out of the packaging, this is absolutely a wonderful addition to my collection. I was very enchanted to see this droid on the Ahsoka series, and it's cool that we were able to get him in a timely manner and with the ship. So cool. Taking a look at the dome, that's the main new thing going on here, which has some really nice paint applications on it. A little bit of kind of like a sheen to it. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's not really metallic, but it's definitely looking different than the body itself, which is the Build-A-Droid mold, as I had mentioned earlier. There's not much to this, but if you are new to collecting, you are able to pop off the strut like that on both sides. You've got some wires down here, as well as a little bit of articulation, but astromechs don't do a ton. You do have a middle strut, which is able to pop out like so you can have them in a bit more of a neutral stance as so, but put this back in there as well and get him rolling around town. So pretty cool stuff there. The head is able to rotate 360 degrees and you are able to pop it off. Unfortunately, there is no paint applications of any kind on this metallic, mechanisms that are inside this droid's dome. Sad, but it's not a deal breaker. Most of the time he's going to have his dome on. Taking a look at the back, we have nice panels here, all three painted that wonderful like forest green color. We've got a lot of different silver paint applications here that are looking really nice, and everything in general is looking pretty clean. But the main thing we want to do is get this little co-pilot into the E-Wing and off for an adventure. So the Vintage Collection and 375 Star Wars collecting in general are all about world building, which requires us to have vehicles and a bunch of different characters and figures to populate these vehicles and environments in our collections. So I'm really happy, that we have the droid and the ship. I'm looking forward to getting the pilot soon. We will definitely need the other pilot in astromech, maybe for some of our secondary E-Wings that we have, but definitely pretty cool that we're able to finally world build this a little bit in our collections. As I said earlier, I also still want to see Sabine Wren on her speeder bike with her bomber jacket look in the future. So first things first, I have one of these pilots here from the recent Vintage Collection Rebel Pilot 4-pack who has New Republic symbols on her helmet, and I thought she'd be a great addition to this vehicle for the moment. And let's see if she fits in there pretty easily. So far, so good. There's plenty of space to get her on in there, and yeah, that actually wasn't too bad. So great to see that that was not a struggle or pain to get her in there. That closes very nicely, and there's no issues. Now we need to get our astromech in there. He doesn't quite fit unless you take this panel off, which is no problem. Simply comes off like so. Let's see if he can go in with his third strut as well. Looks like he can, so let's see if this closes up. Just line it up again. And yeah, awesome. He's able to fit in there with the third strut, no problem. And that is brilliant right there. This is what we want to see in our collections. This is Star Wars collecting at its finest. Moving on, let's see how some of these other astromechs fit in the E-Wing Starfighter. We'll start with Chopper, who is one of the smaller astromechs in the Vintage Collection. He's rather tiny, a little bit wide. He's definitely a little too low in there. You could definitely put some extra stuff in there, maybe like tissue paper, and that would actually get him high enough to sit. So let's try that out real quick. So I actually took one of those warning labels that usually comes in Vintage Collection vehicle or playset boxes and, just crumpled it up a bit. You can just place that in there like so, and that will allow Chopper to have a little bit more height, and he should be able to fit in there pretty well. So it's a little bit off to the side, so let's just fix that and get him in there. Let's see how that works. His arms kind of get in the way, and his dome's a little big, so I don't know. I don't think, maybe he won't fit. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So Chopper can fit, but he needs a little bit of assistance to kind of fit in there, but that's not a deal breaker. So let's see if the other astromech fits, which he should because he's pretty close to the Build-A-Droid mold. Let's just get that paper out of there real quick. Bear with me here 1 second. And then let's try this other droid. He should fit, hopefully with his third strut. Won't be a problem. If not, we'll just lower that. And yeah, Anti-Chimeric droid fit. So that's pretty cool that, you have a little bit of variety here, and they should, be, for the most part, adaptable, getting different astromechs to get in this E-Wing Starfighter. The new Republic E-Wing Starfighter is a wonderful addition to the vintage collection, and vehicles are the essence of world building and the backbone of 375 Star Wars collecting. And once again, Hasbro has delivered another masterpiece to our collection rooms with this all new from the ground up vehicle. While the lack of paint applications might be frustrating to some, the overall simplistic and sleek design will make a wonderful addition to any collection room, and I look forward to future appearances of this vehicle in Star Wars media and potential repaints in the future. I hope you've enjoyed this video and taking a look at this latest addition to our vintage collection vehicle lineup, the new Republic E-Wing and KE4-NA Kenna droid. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And don't forget to smash a like on this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps and is always greatly appreciated. Thanks everyone, and may the Force be with you.